this record is so tremendous. There's so much cool stuff on there.
So much.
There, like, a lot of what I was hearing, I grew up listening to a ton of classic rock and a ton of Zappa, and I heard so much of that in there. At least I think that it was that.
Mm-hmm.
I have notes too, but there was one, that organ one. I think that's the sixth track. How much of that was either consciously or maybe subconsciously coming from like Boston?
Well, interesting. It was not Boston, but it's interesting you hear it like that, which is totally fine because there's so much great music. But I'd done the first part first, and this was a track featuring Billy Cobham. And I'm turning down my, so I don't have delay through my intro mic. And because it has a section in that particular tune that goes into kind of a dance of Maya, like a metric modulation kind of thing, very similar to the dance of Maya thing back from Mounting Under Flame. So of course I worked with Billy, and I was like, we've got to do something like this, and we did that. And I thought of the sound, and I didn't give any real instrumental solos to too many people outside of myself, and a couple of drum solos. But I thought, Russell Sirota is a great keyboard player, plays all over this record, and I said, that'd be great to have like an organ introduction. We're thinking more actually of Yes of all people.
That's
more
the
like
other band I was going to say. There seems to be a lot of Yes in there, especially with like the vocal melodies and stuff.
Yes. Oh, well, there's just, I mean, to sing the lines I wrote. I mean, it's like, I'm really not trying to think complex except for one or two tunes. I'm not naturally thinking, oh, let's make it really tough. It was never that way. It was just would fit the music. There's different inspirations for different songs, but that particular one, it just kind of had that. It became this older vibe tune. For some reason, it just kind of gravitated that way with the way things were happening on that particular song.
Yeah.
And so that's why it may sound that way, because it's just the guy who produced the record and mixed it, Harun Sarang, really has a good ear for, what's possible with the track. Like, okay, this track, you may not go the direction your MIDI, construction wants it. You said you get used to hearing things in MIDI, and stuff. Yeah. And it's got to be this perfect kind of thing. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's supposed to be a little more organic or whatever. It just ended up that way. Like the keyboard's on one side for a lot of it, It's a very like 70s kind of thing. So we went with that.
Yeah, the three main influences that I think that I heard in there were the Boston one for a couple of tracks in certain ways, but I think that's more on the production side. And then like 80s Yes, like Big Generator Yes, and Van Halen.
Oh, Van Halen, okay.
Yeah, that second track, I don't have the name.
Oh, yeah.
But that second track, that intro is like very much to me like that Van Halen, like here we go.
I have to say, this is the thing. So when I was in high school as a jazz snob, I was ashamed that my girlfriend at the time liked Elton John. I felt I had to keep it a secret, right? So I found out that later Elton John is really hip and great, but I was like, we're into free jazz, Ornette Coleman, John Coltrane, Berkeley High School, late 70s, and but then I started playing for money when I was going to conservatory. When I came back from New England Conservatory, I went to school in San Francisco Conservatory, Bassoon Scholarship. I was also playing tenor saxophone in a R&B band 5 nights a week, 9:30 to 1:30, all the time. So I'd stay over at my mom's house, and then I sneak into my brother's room, my younger brother, to listen to his Van Halen records and stuff, and Yes records, and his Rush records and stuff. It's like, oh my God, all this stuff. So I just got the teenage disease a little late, of rock, But of course, I love guitar players. I love the role, Edward Van Halen is just, his rhythm playing is incredible, and he's a great player. It's just like, and all the color. And bassoon has a big range, and I felt, oh man, you can't literally do the same exact thing, but that whole thing was coming from that era. But what makes it interesting, of course, is that to play off a vocalist as opposed to being the guy's always playing all the lines, that's the biggest thing. And I'm just so glad to find these guys. We play together and stuff like that, but that was the idea of work with them. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, those are some crazy hard vocal melodies that she is just executing pretty insanely cleanly.
Yeah, she's amazing. She really is amazing.
Yeah, she makes it sound effortless, like really effortless.
Incredible.
Anxiety. Never enough. No, next again. And we give all of our pretend. And it really has every table down and all. Let there be never ending road. And it's spinning around like a memory till we are no more.
You know, she knows how to play. She said, we had an interview earlier with make weird music. She said, "Oh, this is not fooling around," because we said we do some collaboration and stuff, but it's like, well, I really have to work. So she worked on it, but their stuff they do in their own band is to me is even more insane. Some of the stuff they do, it's just like ridiculous. And you know, they're at that time when I met them earlier, they were in another band called Motar, which is the predecessor of this band, Raise the Maze, and they're the kind of band that played, you know, as adults, twice a week rehearsals, you know, memorize insane charts, you know, just getting it all down and playing gigs and doing tours and stuff like that. So I'm just like, wow, who does that? You know,
it's no one in big cities, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it's a tough. Yeah, it's a tough. It's really it's different, you know. But it's like, you know, there's no real book for that. Although I've had a book on their gigs, but I mean, I'm the, you know, outside hired guy, you know.
For sure.
I had a general mix question too, just in relation to that. It's seems to be you can hear the words pretty clearly the whole time. There's so many words sometimes where it's like I'm wondering who, you know, it looked like the bass player mixed it, right?
Yeah, no, the bass player wrote the lyrics.
Oh, he wrote the lyrics. Who mixed it?
Harun Saran.
Okay, yeah.
That
mixing all those vocals with the bassoon that's in kind of unison with that most of the time. Crazy, because it's you still want it to have this big sound, but
of course,
you want to be able to hear all those lyrics, and you definitely can.
There's like a pristine, sparkly feeling to the track without it be to the tracks without them feeling sterile or like, you know, overly produced.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty intense. But he was a rock guy, fun guy. There's a band called Zenith Patrol. You know, Thomas Pridgeon was in that band from over 20 years ago. We did, you know, he did that, you know, and he's a very forward-thinking musician and you know, great with sounds, really good sound, very perfectionist in terms of, you know, we really wanted to leave no audio thing unturned, like really. It has to be good, you know, really good. Because we hear a lot of great music, and you know, and you still love it. And it's just all about music at first, but the sonics are so important. And we spent a long time. It got better and better. Actually, this thing just grew because I was like, oh, this is very good. So I decided to splurge and get Emily Lazar to master it, and she masters everybody from Soundgarden to David Bowie to I think a whole bunch of real deal people, you know. Yeah.
It's so worth it, man. It's so worth it. Just spending the amount of time on the mix and then spending the money on the master to really make it come through, especially when you got that much of a wall of sound going.
Yeah.
So a lot of this stuff seems to have a lot of foundation. A lot of the songs seem to be founded in an effect or in like the approach to the Hocketing delay that you do and all that kind of stuff. When you're writing this stuff, is there a consistent way that you're doing where it's like you're writing around certain effects, or are you writing and then finding effects that fit in?
Well, it's an attitude. I was for the first one, everything's a little different. I'll tell you about the second tune when we get there, but there's different things that came about for each one. A lot of time it does kind of set the mood of what I'm looking for. I was just, you know, near the end of the whole project, the first tune, When Is Enough, kind of came about. And I had done another tune that's very much more of a fusion kind of tune that almost like a Don Grolnick, Jim Beard, Randy Brecker type of style thing. But I said, you know, this doesn't really work for this record, you know. Gene Coy played on it, and I hope to put it out at some point, but it just, it didn't seem to fit the rest of the tune, so I wrote something quick based on this little pattern. So this is like I can go through each level of the effect, but basically I played it where you went. So it's really simple. It basically, you know, this is a very simple harmony thing. So basically I'm just doing this. Of course, you know, it's a little bit of a challenge, but that's the few times bassoon actually helps it being in the bassoon, because we do these type of, you know, intricate kind of things. Bopping around the low, we're not like a guitar player who has to do this crazy thing. So it's probably work act for a guitar player, but it's just an obligato. The bassoons, you know, we're used to doing these type of obligato kind of things, you know. So use that, and of course then there's a harmonization, which is just the fifths, but it's just, you know, the easy harmonizer for everybody.
Yeah.
then you put the harmony, the time delay, which is this is at 281 beats a minute, so that's 160 beats per minute, and it's 281 milliseconds. And I have a video coming out about how to program a dotted eighth note delay, which is big, the big gimmick I guess I have, because it sounds so cool, but it's relatively simple. But it's going to come out of the video, but basically there's some math involved in figuring out how many milliseconds in a minute, 60,000. You divide, you get to the point where you measure the length of a 16th note, and this is at 93.75 milliseconds is the length of a 16th note at this tempo. Times it by 3, you get 281. So
you're essentially doing a dotted eighth.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. So I go in beats per minute, and I know what the tune is, and that's a thing that seems that everybody loves, but it's not that hard. It's just thinking about what to do while you're going, and you have to circle breathe, and oh god, that's a little nutty.
Are you able to apply that to odd time signatures just as easily to standard?
This is odd time. This is 7. I guess. I guess 7 isn't all that odd.
Not anymore. but does it when you're doing that? Because that's I have that note down. It's like, is it a harder thing to apply because it's asymmetrical or no?
It becomes its own thing if it works and it supports what you're doing. I have some other ones coming up in the next tune. It's just. The reason this is it's just a harmonic kind of thing. So the harmony is like it's just continuous fourth, I think, fifths. I just end it there. I could go, but I'm not. I've just ended after that much. So it's just. It happens to. It was an exercise I wrote, and just that kind of sounds like a cool little agitated kind of pattern, because I wanted to start this tune kind of like a modern times. We have not enough time to do anything. Like we're just running rapid, like looking at our phones, trying to figure everything out. That's the kind of attitude I wanted this song. So it's kind of rushing forward. It changes later. The tune's in the middle of the tune. It changes a completely kind of different vibe. Yeah. But that's that same thing. So I can show you the Logic session. Let's figure out how to share the window. Let's see if we can do this.
Yeah.
This is the original session, and I'll figure out how to get out of the course. So this is the one track here. So you see there's a lot of these harmonies. That's called harmony for Hawk. I don't know if you can see it. Harmony for filter. There's an end riff. There's all kinds of different bassoons. Soon means bassoon. So there's all these different soon tracks. I mean, this is the modern era of this is what we do. We don't have like 12 tracks to play with, so.
Right.
That's a demo. And then there's another one down here. So if I go to the filter one, which is a little different of a sound here. I'm not sure I use this, but this is one with the filter.
Oh, that's so cool. So the filter is really... the filter seems like it's there to create a certain type of articulative kind of percussion.
Yes, and that's this thing right here, which is a Logic thing. Now, all this stuff, a lot of these hardware things, my hardware wasn't used in the final mix. He knew what I was after, and he did his own thing. He's much better at this. I just demoed it. So these are like demos, but it sounds good. But there's levels to how good you can sound. You get a professional, really good mixer like Haroon. You get some options that me just as the guy with the songs can't necessarily do. I'm getting better, but So there's that. That's the main one. There's another one later on that I discovered when I did this later. I'll get to then. I'll get out of the session. We can go to other tune or whatever. So this is solos, and here's where is it? There's a hawker down here someplace. Where is it? I'm gonna try to find it. I'm gonna try to figure it. It's in the mix. Somebody just hadn't. Was this it right here? No, that's another part of the song. Mm-hmm. So that's an unaffected, and this is the affected. There's another one coming up in a second, though, somewhere. I'm trying to remember what it is. Oh, okay, I think it's over here. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make so much noise, but
no, it's great.
This right here. I think this is it here. That's not. Yeah. So if I take out the delay, it says this.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many repeats do you have when you're doing the hocketing in general?
No,
how many
just
repeats?
One.
Just
That's
one?
it.
Just one, yeah.
Yeah. Just make it tight, because otherwise it's
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more levels to this. You go crazy, but I have a problem being too dense in terms of too much stuff going on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's really easy, because sometimes what's really effective are tunes that don't have that much going on.
Yeah, of
that
course.
you really focus. Like there's a couple that are coming up.
One more question on track 1.
Yeah.
The solo, is that's just some drive and some delay, right? You have a little, not even distortion.
What they did, so I wanted more acoustic sound for the solo, and he did a little bit of you're talking about the earlier solo too, probably.
Yeah.
I just wanted acoustic sound for the most part. He put in some kind of a delay with a little crunch in it or something. He did some processing, and he got the final version I liked was the most acoustic sounding one of them all.
Yeah.
So it's not in this session. This particular session does not have it. This is just my Logic, and what he did is he did stuff in Logic as we're putting it together, but then he mixed in Pro Tools analog, and so it just sounds better.
It sounds like on the record you have kind of like a tonal identity with a little bit of a drive on almost everything, even when it's
to a certain degree. Yeah, it was because Herman's thinking about for the music requires a little drive. It requires a little bit of something there, and I don't. Yeah, if it was just completely room bassoon, for classical session, it might not have that impact,
Right.
So there is a bit of some of that, and might as well go, do all we can to make it overall the best it can be. So I have no problem with that.
It gives the stuff that you're playing a little more kind of like gravitas in the context of the music going on around it.
Exactly. I'm gonna try to find this other one here. This is the one I think I'm gonna go to a different verse. So I'm going to the second tune. You can talk about it. So
yeah,
if you can go to the second tune, it would go on. This is so much fun. I don't want to abuse the privilege. So because I spent so long doing that stuff, and then not only long, but just wanted to make a record with the badass singer and band that play together and just
yeah. No, it's great to go into those Logic sessions too and see some of the isolated sounds and how they're created.
Right.
That's the entire idea.
So the intro on the second track is bonkers.
Searching and sacrificing and dividing the scheme that is dramatic from out of the blue. Materializing of the dream in your head, lying awake in your bed in the night, forging a new insight.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's electric bassoon is the same basic setting, except that I'll do a couple different things here. So I'll do like this, and it was probably Neural DSP, which I'm not going to play through right now. I believe it was the Petrucci Neural DSP, Dream Theater guy.
Yeah.
It's one of the settings that I kind of tailored for myself, and it had a nice crunch and ballast. It's like, and there you go, power chords. How much fun. So yeah, you can. I'll show you the session in a second, and we'll go through everything. Yeah, actually, it all came up here.
On that track, when you were playing, I think it was a solo. I don't remember if it was a solo or the melody. Do you have an octave fuzz on there? Or
yeah. I have. I'd love to if I could do some acoustic, just or without having to put the octave on. I'd say so. What we did is the octave has like the Neural DSP on it, a higher octave. But you have a lot of the original signal, so it has this kind of warm, but happening sound. So I just didn't want to be like, what the hell is that? I can't tell what that is all the time,
right?
Because sometimes when you don't see me play it, it's like, what guitar player is that or something? Because it's just a higher octave screeching around,
Yeah.
And I said, I wanted because I was worried about not having enough actual bassoon sound of the record. Believe it or not, because it's like everything is processed or overdriven or something, or octaves or something. But it worked out, and we thought about that. So I do like the octave split where you kind of hear the octave in there. So
Yeah,
I can go with it. I can go over that song now, and let me know when.
Sure.
I'll play a little bit of this. This is the thing. Basically, the same basic setting. I probably haven't. So it sounds like this here. I don't have Neural DSP hooked up to me here, but basically, it's like I have this something in the helix similar like that. So. That's the sound basically. Yeah.
Honestly, I think one of the, some of the most genius about this record in general is that you don't feel that you're missing guitar most of the time, and you're
there is guitar in this track. There's a lot of guitar,
right,
but not
right,
that section.
but not in very many tracks, right? There's only
Yeah.
guitar in a couple of tracks.
Well, he's on this one for sure. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
But I'm saying in general, when I hear a bassoon solo, it sounds like a guitar solo. When I hear
there's no yeah. I'm the only guy soloing.
Yeah.
The bassoon is covering so many aspects of the music. It's covering harmony, it's covering bass lines, it's covering lead lines, it's covering melody. So I think that's what people should really listen for when they're going through this record. Really is just how many different applications of bassoon are used and how diverse the sound can be.
Yeah, that's true. That's exactly true. I appreciate that. I do not feel the need at this moment to do another one like this for a while, because the next record I'll just go in the studio, be one single player, and have a great time. Whatever it happens there, because you're right. It's like this is the greatest example I think for me lately of that whole thing of bassoon as a universe into itself, to sort of say. I mean, it's kind of a funny way to look at music. It's not all about the instrument; it's about the music, whatever. But I do feel that that's what I was going for. Was this just what can I do with this instrument that triggers something, and I just love the ridge,
I think one of the reasons that Aaron and I like it so much and like that approach so much is because we have this very explicit philosophy when we approach the effects, that like we kind of separate ourselves from just being a trumpet player or just being a sax player, or in your case a bassoon player, and we are producing the music as a whole, and the instrument in our hands is just the main tool that we're using, but it's not limiting us to just doing what that instrument does.
I think there's a way as an artist you can kind of gauge. The more education you get, more experience you get. Is this gratuitous just for that sake? Or in terms of I'm showing something off that maybe doesn't serve the music as well as maybe something else would? Or is it actually creating kind of an interesting thing that actually leads to more, discovery or something? I don't know. It's like, sometimes there's a place for everything. There's a place for excess. There's a place for just one note being placed the right spot, and it's just as valuable as all those notes you just heard. It depends. Everything depends, But I did, for the one thing I didn't want to do was just if it's just me playing melody on top, it's a different feel than actually partnering with another musical soul, like another band, another thing.
That just really like sax and trumpet would play melody together.
It
makes sense to have playing along another.
And you can do everything yourself after a while. Does get kind of boring if you don't collaborate. I mean, so I'm really glad I had some things changed. Some ideas were, maybe this doesn't work, but it natural, just felt right. And I just love working with those guys, and they came to it. There's
and also just most importantly, I feel like especially bassoon, but a lot of instruments, people feel like, especially when they're young, that they're boxed into certain genres based off the choice that they made. So I think Doug and I, almost do this in general just to celebrate all those people that do play those instruments, that decided, hey, like we're gonna find a way to let this instrument be incorporated into every single genre. And I mean, that's why we love you so much, because I feel like you've been doing that for a long time and extremely well, like at the highest level. So
thank you guys.
Just to explain why this is so important to us.
I appreciate it
as a business, but just as people, like people you guys see this.
Well, you guys are modern thinking, and we live in a world where there's just so much content and things where you can take part as a performer or an artist in all different aspects of it, maybe a Vivaldi trumpet concerto or playing a line under somebody that has this really unique character that just adds more value to your musicianship, because Lord knows the music is out there. All that stuff everybody's doing and playing, and there's so much there. So might as well touch on it if you can. It's just, it's great not to have limitations. We got, calls, some people in Texas marching bands wanting pickups for the bassoon, so the bassoon player could do like an electric guitar solo for the halftime show. It's like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you see that being incorporated into DCI marching corps stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Incorporate effects into marching band, and it's like
right.
that is the beauty of this. So anyways, I didn't want to get too far off topic.
That's all good.
One thing you did mention right there, though, is you were talking about how important it is to collaborate with other people. Before we go any further, could you just talk about, just list off some of the people on this record, other than
there's Razor Mays, which is Moria Dickinson on vocals, and Tariq, I guess is Tarek. I'll say his name right. Tarek. Let me turn the delay down. Tarek Ragab, who's a bass player and lyricist of this band. We're in a band from about like 2008 to about 2016 called Motar, and they were signed to Magna Carta Records, I think, for a while. They did some really great music. They did a little bit of touring here and there. They've done like in the prog world, the progressive rock world. And so they're the main collaborators, but also collaborating with this amazing drummers. Billy Cobham was on one track, and I worked with him for a while. He's on the 6th track. Gene Coy, just killing it, 4 tracks, and then Long, who's on the first couple tracks, was a recent discovery, and again, hey, thanks for his number and everything.
Of course.
He's just killing it, and he brings that kind of that prog rock kind of thing, like the guitar player kind of stuff. That's pretty virtuosic. He's a pretty amazing drummer, and great energy, great positivity. Those are the great drummers. We had Ruslan Serrata on keyboards, organ. You played organ on that one you're talking about, the number 6 track, as well as keyboards and about 2 or 3 other three others altogether. Eric Levy played organ on the 7th tune and some piano, and then Chase Jackson, who I didn't know went to Berkeley High School.
Shout out Chase Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. Chase,
he was the bass player in my college funk band.
No kidding. No, Jesus, happened so fast, man.
But I couldn't do anything without him.
No.
Yeah, he's amazing. He did something on the Calliope, the title track. We'll get to that one. That's a nuts. Oh, the one thing about the 2nd track, it was the third movement to my electric bassoon concerto called Transitions that was premiered in January, and that was dynamite. That was a moment where it's on YouTube, where writing with my gear and everything, and what I do for an acoustic ensemble like an orchestra, it felt finally not like, what's that weird instrument doing here, or is that a bong? Is that an uba? But like people knew what the bassoon was, and what you're supposed to sound like, and then they hear that, it's like, wow, it really worked. So I want to do more of that stuff. I got to be on the ball on that kind of stuff, and there's a couple leads of where we might do it, but so it's interesting because that was the third move, but then I started playing it as a song, because it's a tune. I played the song in an undistorted way. It's like, like Michael Manring, we played this together. Michael Manring said, the great solo bassist, amazing player, he said, that'd be great as a metal tune or something. So, I thought about it. That's kind of how it came out. Anyway, enough on that tune, but I just want to let that out there.
The 3rd track seems to have the most modulation on it of anything on the record.
It is the most, it's the most dynamic track I think we had.
Is that flanger in the beginning?
What's that?
Is that flanger or phaser in the beginning?
No, what it is whatever Haroon put on it, it's a bunch of delays.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you'd have to ask exactly what he did, but I'll go to what it was, and from my end of it, and what I do with it. So I basically played let me just go get to the track here. So this is called Seance, and It's actually not a Haka delay that I used at the beginning. When I say Haka delay, usually means a dotted eighth note, or I have some that are different that are actually Haka delays that are quarter note and a 16th, like a 5, stranger ones. But this one is just a delay with more repeat. Now this one does have more repeat, so it's like. Other parts. Is that? Yeah. So that's like a just a straight delay with a little bit of a feedback. So like that kind of, and what he did with that, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's in stereo.
Yeah.
He has something going on, and Hiroon is amazing with all that stuff. He's very creative, and he's like zooms in to just find the thing. It's pretty amazing. But it just enhances that vibe. And I've had this tune around for quite a while, but they took it to another level. I mean, it went crazy. And then the solo for that, like the second bassoon solo, I'll demonstrate a little bit here. It's gonna be harder to tell here because I'll explain it later. But the end bassoon solo, which sounds like a lot of whammy bar stuff. Yeah. I'll get there here. Right. It's where am I gonna find that?
Questions about that.
Yeah, I'll get there. Hold on a second. I just haven't been here for a second here. So here we go. Seance. I think this is it.
Like, you might be my favorite guitar player.
Right.
Oh. Wait, I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what. So I don't know if this is going to get it. Huh. The problem is you hear my original signal, which is still not unshifted. But when you're playing a real loud band,
right,
this ain't going to be heard nowhere. If you just take your original signal out, put everything in the octave pedal, so you're doing all the slides.
Yep.
You're doing all these slides with your foot. You can't hear your actual notes. That's what it is.
So I have a question about the sliding.
Yeah. So it's just a pedal. So it's a pedal on the line 6. Although I just have, you probably can't see it back here. I just got myself I'm borrowing it, but I'm going to get one of the Digital whammy pedals, the mono neon pedal.
Yeah, the classic.
Yeah.
So when you're doing the sliding, both Aaron and I do that a lot too. We do it for all types of reasons. When you're doing it, do you ever do it to where you're using the octave slider, like go up an octave or up 2 octaves, but kind of find a spot in the middle to land, or are you ever?
I do things like this. So I'll start it low because I don't want to give it away. Yeah. It sounds so much lamer if you do it from here, but then
yeah.
But if I want to play something that sounds high, I'll play it lower and then go down from there because it's all right but an octave. So again, you can't really hear my original signal, so it's kind of tough.
We're hearing through it.
With all the kind of multiphonics you can do with bassoon, which is you have no amplification. You still get these. And with this on there, you got.
Right.
It kind of sucks when you hear the original signal, but if you hear it, that's exactly what's happening in the record. They're just wanking that pedal, But I had to be tasteful about it because there's a skill to it, though. Because it's not just your foot go nuts, it's great. You don't play guitar like that,
Yeah, it still has to be in line with your idea.
Right.
That's for sure.
Really, and so when I worked on this, so I'll have a hell of a time because I'm making a music minus 1 record of this whole thing with tracks for transcription and everything. That transcription of that solo is gonna be tough because I don't know how to transcribe a dive.
How do you transcribe the thing?
I don't know. I don't know how to do it. I'll give the notes, but I'll have to I also want to play it for the video, learn how I did it because some of these solos I've learned already again how to do it, like the second solo, the solo on the second tune on KDB, and I also learned the solo on Door Knocker too. I've learned most of it.
Yeah.
So I just want to be able to play what I play. So
when you're doing the sliding, do you ever set instead of doing an octave, like set it like a fifth above or set it a fourth above or something like that, so you have like a
I like whole octave so far.
Yeah.
I like the octave, and I want to get that. Sometimes I'll be often playing stuff like where I'm just playing harmonica, like Ornette Coleman kind of stuff, like. But it depends on where it is in the music.
Right.
But if you just hear one pitch, it's like this guy's wobbling on these cool hits, but it's in a different that whole.
It's almost like a differently made ring modulator in some way.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a
pitch keeps changing.
And I do. It's something you do have to practice. It's not just go in the showroom floor, get it, and do it. You have to. Yeah. The reason it sounds the way it does on the record is I really thought about what I was going to do, and if I liked it, I kept it, and if I didn't like it, I didn't keep it. It didn't take long to do, but it's just you can't.
Something.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say something Doug and I like a lot is we'll set the toe down to like a minor third up or a fourth up, and just play with especially. I mean, the limitation for trumpet is you can always bend notes down, but you can't bend them up. So sometimes just being able to have the room sound and a delayed sound that's bending up a half step, so you can almost create the sonic rub right there.
Oh, that's
cool like expressive technique that when you have the toe down all the way to an octave, you can't really get to that half step whole, step whole step weird relationship. So we've been messing around with that.
I'm sure that's great. I'll have to try that. I mean, it really is a skill that you got the best examples are now recorded on this thing, but I've done live streams like that too, and I haven't heard too much of it on anybody's recordings, but when I have, it's pretty good. Sometimes it's like, oh, that's a little too wacky, a little nutty, but if it sounds like a real, the soul of a guitar player, like a Hendrix or Vai or something like that, where they go down really mean something,
Yeah.
Could you maybe open up that session and play us that ISO
Sure.
soul?
Yeah, for sure. Here we go. Now that is there. We just saw.
Of course.
So there's. I know there's so many different things going on in here. Our vocal. That could be a demo too. I can't. I'll go to the solo. I'm going to go over here. So this is the. What is this coming out of? This is the verse. So this is kind of cool. This is the. I know what you're after. This is probably what you're after right here. So let me get this bassoon solo. Here we go. Sorry, guys.
No, it was great.
You're good.
Yeah, there's that.
So cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Then here we go. There's more. There's a little more coming up. Yeah, so that's me playing low, but I have the pedal on, I think, or something like that. Mm-hmm. I can't remember. Yeah, that's
some guitar shit right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's good. Yeah. So.
Yeah, man.
Stop. I'm going to get. I'm just losing where I was. Okay. I'm trying to. I'm just going. Where was it? Here. Was this? Here. So here's the last bit. Sorry. Just try to.
That's the coolest thing ever.
It is pretty good. So the thing is, what am I doing here? I don't even know what I'm using here. Let's check it out for a second here, because I'm going to take things off so you can get. So that's just the pedal without distortion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds like just you and the pedal, maybe a little bit of dirt on it, tiny bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
That's
really fun. And
awesome.
it's like, yeah, I mean, us me back in 1981 in NEC practice rooms with a microphone down my bassoon, a Walden Sack old reel-to-reel tape recorder with incredible, you had a tube preamp in there. I just blew the thing to smithereens to a Roland jazz chorus, and it was just, I just, you know, that's a little bit better. Now it's a little bit more forward. It's just they said the assistant dean said, that's really something. I'm not sure I like it, but that's really something. And so I would record it around Boston, like me and my jazz chorus amp going to sessions and stuff, flailing. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of how I'm going to get the other one up, which is a real bonanza here.
Yeah, the fourth one. So the harmony on that, in the beginning of the fourth track, is that diatonic or is that non-diatonic? When it's all.
You tell me. I'll replicate it because I found my patch, but I have to change harmonizers, and this is the thing I have not yet mastered. You guys have probably know better than me that it's because all these effects have different things in them, and so you add. What ends up happening is you add all the other like things it has. It's very hard to just get the one effect out of one. It's hard to get one effect and just that effect. You're getting also the gain structure of the other box and stuff like that.
Yes.
I think you may have told me this before too, but I believe one of the influences I hear on this that we haven't talked about is Knower also.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like this sounds, this whole record is heavily Knower influence, especially some of these harmony patches.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What's it called? It's adult harmony. Through the last 20 years, 20, 30 years maybe, advent of YouTube or whatever it is, musicians are very educated and really know great sounding SHIT, whatever, They really know, cards, and they can get to Jimmy Smith, they can get to McCoy Tyner, they can get to, everything. And so the musician era, maybe it's because it's also gospel music, like gospel music obviously has incredible harmony, but a lot of pop music has this incredible stuff in it. And I'm noticing it happen and Nowhere coming up because it's not only just funky, great stuff and catchy and everything, but just I love it. I think people do like it. If there's a catchy melody, harmony's fine. It doesn't. It's so. This. Let me see if it's on. I might.
And then shout out to Louis Cole for putting out one of the greatest records of the year. As well.
The orchestra.
Yeah, that record is unbelievable.
I gotta hear it. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, the Knower one too, though. The Knower one is also insane.
Man, Paul, I'll send you. There's a YouTube of it live, so you can watch the video. It is worth a watch.
He's incredible. I mean, I talked to him really briefly through a friend, Bill Bexler, who knows. I guess taught him in Santa Monica or something like that. I don't know if this is for the interview or not, but he emailed me. He texted me back, said, "Man, I'm so busy. I love your stuff, but wow, he loves clothes like my stuff, He heard the earlier door knocker and dug it, He's fantastic. He's just great. I mean, it takes so much energy to be that dedicated and take something from the ground up in this era of, where we are in entertainment and everything with so much, it's just tough. It takes a lot of work, and they did it. And congratulations, man! Everything they get.
It's such an oversaturated industry too.
Yeah. To break through and be heard is crazy.
Yeah, they built something out of whatever the beginnings. It's just like they did all that themselves. They didn't have like a corporate entity saying, "Here's some more,"
Music honestly demanded it from the very beginning, though. I can tell you exactly where I was when their first record came out, honestly.
Right.
And what speaker system I was on when I first heard it.
Incredible. Yeah. I can't remember the name of the first. It was like 10 years ago. It was a little more than 10 years ago. I heard something, one of their ones, and it heavily influenced. You hear it. There's a track that's very influenced by them at the end. But it's just, I'm glad they're there, and all kudos to them, because it's just hard to survive in this industry. It's a crazy time, and it's just you had to be dedicated. They did with their dedication. They did it. They put their their mouth or where their money is, whatever. They just did it. It's great. So this is called Calliope, and I was thinking of two different things when I thought of this. First is the Calliope, like the horn, the thing that you see in the park with the monkey and kind of the sound making organ kind of thing, this hand pumping, But also Calliope is the Greek goddess of epic song and dance, epic poetry and dance and song. So that's what it's about.
Never mind, we'll see once he throws the olive contrivance in a cave, staving off with the brave lead. Led me astray by the time and a swan and dawn is a one in the whip of a wing is a poem to sing in a bleak mountain spring and infinite internet. There in rarefied meadow verse, it's a holy curse. Unending light, caught it, find it embedded inside a shell. Swell on the seaside night for us to hear.
It's a really nutty tune, but it has this harmonic patch. So I mean, all that stuff, Jim Beard, Song the Sun, is a record. I think it's called Parsley Trees. But I heard that as like 1991, 92. This is when I was into, Brecker and all the people were into who's always playing Iwi and stuff like that, which has the expander and all those crazy harmonies. Because that really is like, whoa. And I always wanted to, be able to do that kind of a thing. And I heard that record and was just amazed about it. So I started getting into chords are one thing, but also the voicings and just how things kind of hit you,
Yeah.
And so that's why I always liked those kind of harmonies that did that. And at the time, the only thing that happened for this kind of custom harmonies, where you're not just doing fifths, fourths, or some kind of algorithm that came up with to serve your needs. Like most harmonizers, this is totally free. You can do whatever you want. So you put one note in, you get, two other notes, one here, one there, and the next note up, you can do whatever you want. It doesn't have to be the same distance as the last, you know what I'm saying? Independent pitch shifting, right?
Right.
So here's like I come out it. A lot of slash chords in that, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's what I put together, and I'll share you the, here, let me share this here. This is the track. Where's the harmony? This is the harmony section. This is, you hear just. And so when you put it with everything else in there, there's a guitar part right here, and it goes like this. And this is just a fake, I think, fake guitar. Maybe it's a real one. It's fake. Maybe that's me. That's actually me playing guitar.
What pedal is making the harmony happen for you?
It's a TC Helicon Voice Live 2.
And that's the one that's each note has a different voicing.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can do, they have algorithms for you to take it easier on yourself, but I'm always about the custom harmonies, because if you're a piano player, right, you want to comp a melody, you want to comp it the way you want to comp it, right?
Right.
Same thing. I want to comp this, it comes up being its own thing. So in that session, I'm sharing the session here. Where is the brass? Okay, so there's going to be some piano in here, I think. So this is a little bit later. So this is basically the same thing, right? Here comes the brass part here. Yeah. Bridge. Dynamics. Very zappish.
I was about to say when the marimba comes in.
What's that? Sorry.
When the marimba comes in, it sounds like like Live at the Roxy or something like
Exactly. Ruth Underwood or
Yeah.
that's her name, right? Yeah.
Ruth, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only part. A lot of people said Zappa for this record, but that's the only real Zappa part for me is right on this song. So there, but
I think a lot of people, maybe the vocal melodies, I heard that, but then I was like, no, it's more Yes-ish because it's a little bit more straightforward than the Zappa stuff.
Yeah. No, it's all very fast. And I remember seeing Zappa in like high school or something like that, and it was a different kind of vibe than what you get from some of this other stuff. It was great. It's fantastic. It was almost Dadaist in some ways, but it still had a great vibe. It's just frank, it's very good. But there's all kinds of things, and it's funny because someone was asking me, were you thinking of this person when you wrote it? No, I wasn't. The only time I think I was a little bit, so it's just so fascinating about it, was Knower at the end, a little bit like that. I was trying to think, kind of write something like that. But that's about the only time I went in to try to think, I got to write a song like this person. No, I was thinking about myself, what I like. Yeah. And I still like it all. I'm not going to write about something if I don't like it,
Right.
So that's basically for that too. That's the kind of that came about. There's a couple other things actually in this tune, and I'll share, if you don't mind me sharing back and forth. Is this okay with you guys? Or?
Yeah,
perfect. This is great.
Okay. So it goes into a different time. Not a different time. It's 3 instead of 3/8, 9/8. It goes into 3/4 right here, and there's a different harmonizer, I believe here. There's a different one here, which is my line 6.
Oh, okay. So that's less complex.
Here it goes right here.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what. Yeah, I think that's a different. It sounds, in fact,
tonally it sounds
totally different, right?
Right. Yeah. So to me, the TC Helicon sounds kind of like tinnier and less like you, whereas the line 6 sounds like a bunch of you.
I think not to get in trouble with anybody, but I think the line 6 tracks a little bit better.
Yes, better than everybody that I've seen.
Yeah, it just does. But I would, if they could try and just put, so I could put my custom harmonizer, that'd be great.
Man, if they had a learn function like on the H9 and then they had the custom harmony, it would be unbeatable.
I'll have to get it. I'm hearing about H9. I'll have to check that out. I might have to get myself one.
So we both use the H9, and for me at least, the only reason that I use it is because it has that learn function. When you're doing diatonic harmony, you hold a button down, play a note, and that's the new tonic of the diatonic harmony.
Yeah. That's the one thing, man.
It's the only thing that keeps it on the board for me.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Cool.
If line 6 could adopt the custom harmonies and learn function, that would be awesome. Shout out line 6.
Yeah, that'd be great. Otherwise, it's just fantastic for me. Also, what I really like about it, it's got a bona fide power cable.
Right.
That just go in. It's very hard to come out, bend. You're storing your wall warts and the near the big bit. You break the thing. And it's like, oh, man, which voltage is this? This 18 and a half, whatever,
Yeah, is it center positive or center negative? All that nonsense.
Yeah, that is something else. So let me go. I'll keep moving because I know we're taking some great time, which is fantastic. Let me go to another track here.
Oh, I had a question about the 5th track. The 5th track has the least on it. Is that delay a modulated delay? There's some modulation in the delay itself.
What happened is I'm always doing my Hocket thing, right?
Right.
And Haroon felt like instead of having it like all your Hockets where each sound of the note coming out is the same level and same attitude, that just sounds the same instrument, right? Very like other Hockets, they sound like the one line playing. This would sound like the delays were. My original note was you can hear it stand out more, and the delays are kind of going around you a little bit, so it sounds like it's kind of quadraphonic kind of thing. And so those had some kind of effects on it that I can't recall. He did it. I let him do what he was going to do because it sounded good. Nice. And it was originally I did it without that in mind, but he had that in mind, so he just took and all that stuff on that particular track. Nothing was pickup. It was all microphone.
It was all microphone.
Yeah, it was all mic. It was actually the only tune I didn't do here. I didn't do it here. I did it at his house and using a
Was it still
what was I using? I'm gonna get this Vanguard Audio microphone. It was a really amazing Vanguard Audio V24. It's a really new microphone. It's a fantastic microphone. It sounds like one of those Neumanns. Those really amazing Neumanns. It's great. So let me get to the other one. Where are we going at? We're going to. I haven't found this one yet. There's nothing really in
doldrums.
Not really that I can find it. Sometimes it's a time signature crazy thing. See if I can find it though. I actually there's nothing spectacularly weird about that tune in terms of effects. I think there's a distortion on the solo. It's one of the more cleanest ones we did. It's just a tough tune, you know. It's just you know, I was thinking of Billy and the metric modulation and things like a Dance of Maya, that kind of vibe. So we would do the process of it, and this is important, is that we go back and forth with different things, like different parts and stuff like people do it, this pandemic style, which is, no one's in the same studio. So we all know this, but this is kind of how I did. So this is a different version. This is all my bassoon playing on this one track called Dol Soons, was Doldrum Soons, you know, so you just see a stereo track right there. So this octave harmony part.
It kind of has like a Miles Okazaki type of feeling to it.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, it could, that's for sure.
Very
so that
cool.
There's nothing ridiculous about this. It's just, this is the kind of tune I'd love to rehearse as an actual band and spend some time on, because it's dense, but when you get it, it's real satisfying, you know? Yeah. That's really, so it's really but it's not distorted. Anyway, but it's slightly different personality than the way it came out. I'm glad the way it came out, because it sounds more human to me than this. But you can see this is like where you kind of can get really addicted to certain vibes you get off of your real perfect Logic thing sometimes. Yeah. And it's cool if you can get certain aspects of everything right, but it's also cool if there's like a little bit of a different feel, and it's just overall the way that things develop when actual human beings played all these parts. It just kind of went that older kind of way, which is kind of cool because of what Billy Cobb meant to the music world to me in terms of the early 70s. To me, that early fusion stuff has just got the freaking rawness that even a little bit out of time or whatever like that, or not him, but just in terms of there's some looseness, like on Intermounting Flame, there's some looseness for sure, but there's also togetherness. It's just and it always got me, that kind of stuff just hits you right away,
Yeah,
so.
It feels like you're teetering on the edge of falling apart, and so you can feel the risk, and it's like exciting.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of and it ended up being a track where going for that older kind of a vintage sound, I guess, was kind of where we went, and I had a great time on it. So it's cool.
Nice.
I have a couple more, and this is gonna be fun. Okay.
Are we talking about 6920?
Yes, we are.
The most rage-filled song on the track.
Yes. Now this is a funny thing because it's about current events, as you can probably determine. This is a very tough part, and if we can close that, it's a funny thing because it lays well in bassoon. Yeah. It doesn't play well in guitar or bass, and so it's just fun.
No.
that's that one. So that's this. So let me just go to the bassoon stems. It's my, so this is okay. So that's some, I do think I'm gonna, because of the, don't waste too much time here. I just could go to that one. And so this is a stem session where things are being put together before more stuff happens to it.
Right.
So you can see, if you're sharing it to you now, you got the big drum stems, you got the guitar stems, you got the keyboard stems, and you got the synth bass stems. I don't know where we were in the process. Maybe we're getting the bass part done or something like this. It's an awful tough part. So, let me see if there's a vocals thing going on here. I don't know if there is. So this is before vocals even on it. And basically at this level, I'm sure it was probably Neuro DSP or something like that.
Yeah.
But the riff itself is kind of the thing here. I'll play along with it for a second if I can do it. Make it quiet so I can do it so it's not too loud. It's good practice. Yeah. I don't know how that came out in terms of that line. Was it too loud, or was I too loud? Or
that was great.
It was perfect.
Oh, perfect. That's good, because I'm playing really quiet to try to match it. But yeah, it's a cool riff. It's like
very Slayery.
Oh yeah. And so let's see if the bass is doing. If I change the bass part yet, because I had to change it. So it's not the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the way you'd write a Barry part on something like that.
Maybe. It actually makes it better, because I had the original vision was during I'll stop for a second. So the original version was the bass part does exactly what I do. It's this mad 2D affair. Yeah. Certain things can happen when you're going for it in your own studio that, hey, this is fun. I think it really work when you actually play them, though.
Yeah.
And so that's, I still don't know, because we've never played live this. We barely even seen each other in person. It's amazing. But that just worked out well. And of course, Gene sounds fantastic on it and stuff. And then we go to the thing. That was just a great riff, because the bassoon, it's just, instead of a guitar player having to go up down the neck and stuff like that.
Right.
Certain shapes are very nice. I mean, I'm sure every instrument has their shapes that work. But for me, ostinatos, bassoon ostinatos gave me the whole idea. Why don't you go electric? I mean, seriously, it's kind of a bizarre thing. Last thing you'd think of, but. So I mean, that's just kind of how it works. It's a bassoonistic time apart. It's like basso continuo or whatever,
Yeah.
It's like Vivaldi, we do the bass parts, so but it's easier in some ways. But the thing is, and so that's what I came around. We really wanted that, and it worked out. And it took Haroon a while to learn how to play that. It was he really worked hard. He said he was sweating bullets, but he did a good job.
That means you wrote something good. Honestly, that's whenever my friends complain about trying to play my parts, it always comes out the best.
Yeah, because he was trying to make it. It's a really good thing. It's I'm really thinking in my head now at this stage, how are we going to put all this stuff together to play it? And I'm thinking about it. And so that's why I learned this again, because I doing the video and I forgot how to play this thing. I didn't really forget, but I had to get back into it,
Speaking of playing this stuff live, if you were to put this together for like a live show, or like you wanted to tour the record or something like that, when you're thinking about putting your stuff together to like play all of it, would you set up presets sequentially on your
Oh
pedal
yeah,
so that
each tune would have each tune would be its own thing because the delay has to be set a certain way.
Right.
It sounds everything's. And I do that anyway. When I do my solo bassoon stuff, I did a whole thing with Ableton in the spring where I had a couple of these tunes. Ableton, it wasn't to me as satisfying because hey, it's me playing with myself. Now there's certain times for it that's fine. Like certain degrees are okay. Like for me, a little bass line allows me to really go and do something. People are fascinated. That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
But the rubber hits the road when you're trying to grasp a vibe and a feeling, and what the feeling is. You want to translate it to people, and people come along with it. And so people have to be on board, and so you have to have the sound ready, the tempo ready, all that stuff. This is the tune. This is it. So I know it can be done, can be played it, but the thing is, just I haven't gotten to that point where we're going to do something. We're thinking about it for sure. We definitely want to do it. Yeah. Just all the scheduling, but I am thinking there's probably not going to be as much ear candy. Like I can't have all my harmony parts. I'll have to do something else, or how am I going to do it? What am I part going to play? Sometimes I'll just let the keyboard player play the chords that I play on harmonizer or something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say sometimes just more busy keys or just some extra harmony from other.
And it's going to do the same job anyway, because I don't know, sometimes the chords, especially the other unit, it can get kind of, like you said, harsh, Doug.
Yeah.
It can be a little harsh, and then you can't really hear what you're doing in some ways. It's cool, it does the harmonies, but you want it to sound good at the same time. Yeah. So there's a number of different factors. I would, I basically, on all these songs, this is the bottom line, is that I think they're strong enough songs as they are, that you don't have to have every single bell and whistle on every single thing. I mean, I'm not talking about changing the notes of the chords, but like effects or lines or pattern or layers,
Yeah.
If it's a good song, it's a good song. You can be able to pull it off playing it many different styles, Like there's a way to play, this tune, if you played it like this, for example, this is going back to the second tune, if you got, you could also do something like this, like a tango version. Some really easy way of making it lighter and still you can still do the same thing.
Yeah.
So there may be some of that. Will depend. That tune probably won't be like that, but
right.
Yeah. Anyway, cool. We go to the last thing, which is has the most. I think we've heard what the harmonizer does.
Yeah.
But I'll go to the solo, which is really quite something else.
Yes.
So let me load that in a second here. Now this one gets all the TikTok and Instagram hits possible because it's fast and it sounds insane, and it definitely has that nowhere thing. This is the first tune we did that we released.
Yeah, and it has the video, right?
I redid the video just a little bit because with the new audio on it, so I did a couple things. But yeah, this is like 2 years ago video, but now we have another version that's part of the album. I think I switched it out. The audio is like this a little bit better. But let me go to this one. I'm going to play right here the Hawkins solo. This is straight from the beginning of this. I'll share the session. I can play some of this stuff too, but I'm going to not play the harmonizer stuff. I'll just do the Hawkins things. So this is that track, and where are the These guys, a lot of harmonizers in this. So there's a harmonizer high, and the harmonizer high doubled, and the harmonizer low, harmonizer low doubled, harmonizer mid. I did different pickups. I did a little J pickup on this. I also did my old frat pickup. I have all three, and so let's see what happens here.
And that's all.
Yeah, I think some of them are. I can't record them more than one pickup at a time. So I don't think I did two. I think they're a different track, me just tracking it. Like people double themselves.
But that's all Helicon, right?
Oh, that's all Helicon. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I could show you to you, but
Yeah.
you've heard it before. So that's basically what that is. And then there's, I believe, a section in here. Where does it go? Here we go. What is this right here? Yeah. It's just the chords out of the harmonizers. Very little besides just the fraps in there. Right. So it's just the way it sounds. And so I think there may be an effect I had on there something. I don't think so. It just naturally sounds like that. It's really quiet, actually.
Yeah. The top one has an effect on it, I think.
What's that?
I think the frap 1 has an effect on it.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, it does. So now let me get to the fun part, though. The real idiotic thing, which I got. Yeah, which is up in here. I just find it. I had it before I changed everything here. It's somewhere up in here, someplace. It's great. I think this is it right here. So there we go. Okay, down here. So this now let's listen to how dumb this sounds without any delay on it. So there we go. And there we go. That's acoustic and that's electric. The electric one had effect in it. So the effect was there. There's a pedal board, but don't believe it. I was actually doing it right through the with the delay in the pedal board.
Right.
I mean, with the in the real pedal board, the line 6. Yeah. This, and I'll do some of this again. I kind of got this. I got to find the music for it, but I can do it with the basic effect. It's pretty fast. It's 180 beats a minute. So this is the acoustic bassoon. So that's lame, right? It just sounds goofy, right?
Can you turn the track's volume up? Track 20. Could you turn that volume?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know why it's so. I'm so sorry about that.
No, it's great.
Lame, dude. Yeah. Yeah, so now,
dude, honestly, that reminds me of a Meshuggah guitar solo.
I know. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. So let me go to the. I think I have it right here. See, it's 250 milliseconds. It's real fast. Is this the one? Yeah, this is that. Okay, so now let me see if I can find the chart for it. I think I had a chart. I'm going to undo the share here so you can actually see me try to attempt part of this.
Yes, attempt this.
Yeah, I did. Actually, I did it for the video, but it kind of, I about half of it down. That's all I got so far. So,
that's pretty insane.
Yeah, it is. But it's fun because when you're playing at that tempo, for example, like this, and it just sails that along. Let me try to turn it down just a touch on this side. See, what do we got here? So
that's such a G move right there.
You gotta be able to hear the down rate, yeah. Can't hear the song.
Yeah, man.
That's so
yeah,
you definitely gotta shed that and lock that in easily. You know, that's that's not something that's for the faint of heart right there.
Well, the thing is, I can barely hear the track because it's so loud. But if you get involved, and you're right in there, and you don't play too many long notes. You just don't worry too much. You go forward and enjoy your bounce. You can get it. It's just that
just keep it light and float along the river.
The light is no, I can't double tongue, so this does it for me.
Yeah, no, cheating is the best. That's what pedals are for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So forth,
and so forth,
You know what's funny too is it looks like you're playing all those notes.
Yeah, it does.
Just watching you, it's like, well, I could see him actually double tonguing all that.
Yeah.
Hell no. No. I have the worst double tongue ever.
Mine's worse. Mine's worse.
I don't know.
I don't have one.
I'm supposed to have it.
Yeah.
I play the saxophone. I'm not doing
Dude, well, that's incredible project, honestly.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
What a phenomenal
between
album.
me and Doug in the past week, we've probably given you about 10 full record listens.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Just an excitement just for it to be out for you, and we're happy.
It is.
And
it's great. It's a real big milestone for me because is both a collaboration and just I had something building for such a long time as I wanted to reflect on something a modern music and finally got a chance to do it finally. So
magnificent.
There you go.